Well, welcome back, friends, to this episode of Season 2 of Test Those Breasts. I am your host, Jamie Vaughn. And today I am so honored and excited and giddy and all the things to have my friend Wyatt Smith on my show. Wyatt Smith is a sound bath practitioner. And about 15 years ago, Wyatt, the visionary behind Sound Bath by Wyatt, embarked on a transformative journey that would lead him to become a seasoned sound bath practitioner and gong master. It all began with a profound moment of bliss during a sound bath, a moment when the world felt perfectly aligned. Inspired by this experience, Wyatt felt compelled to learn the art of playing the gong and facilitating gong baths. Wyatt's dedication to his craft is evident in more than 500 sound baths he has performed for over 15,000 people. Beyond his own practice, he has extended his expertise by mentoring other sound bath practitioners. Recognizing his extensive experience, Wyatt's Gong Master bestowed upon him the title of a qualified Gong Master, a testament to his commitment and mastery in the art. Wyatt's dedication extends beyond his practice as he recognizes the healing potential of sound baths for those recovering from life's ailments. As part of his Karma project for the past 15 months, Wyatt has generously offered his sound bath experience to the Cancer Community Clubhouse survivors as a tribute to a dear friend lost to cancer. The project is a heartfelt endeavor reflecting Wyatt's commitment to sharing the healing power of sound with the community. In essence, Wyatt Smith's practice is about creating a harmonious space for self-discovery and inner healing. The term sound bath practitioner encapsulates his commitment to facilitating an environment where individuals tap into their inherent healing abilities, guided by the therapeutic power of sound. Well, welcome, Wyatt. I am so excited you're here. The reason I wanted you on this show is because I actually have experienced your sound baths at Cancer Community Clubhouse. And, it's really funny because I had been invited to your sound baths quite a few times by Natalie Stevenson and also Tiffany Johnson and my friend Paula Berry. And I just never went. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I didn't even know what it was. And I was like, yeah. I was off doing my own little thing. Well, one day I decided to go with my friend Paula and her husband, and then Tiffany and Lisa were there. And I just remember thinking to myself, why in the heck have I never done this before? Why have I never even experienced this? It was the most amazing feeling to me. And I have gone 2 other times since. Last night I had to miss, I think you had one yesterday.
Yes, I did.
I think, right? Yeah. And I missed it because I went to an 80s concert show. And I mean, like, I needed to go to that. Okay. But I will say that I'm dedicated to coming every month. And I love the fact that you donate your time and expertise and your practice to Cancer Community Clubhouse. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. And yes, thank you so much for asking me to be on your podcast. Um, I did have a sound bath last night, or a sound bath meditation, as I'm learning more about my craft. Is what is that mean? What is a sound bath? What is a sound meditation? Over my 15 years of doing this, obviously my perception has changed of what a sound bath or a sound healer is. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm a sound bath practitioner. I have the set and the setting for the participants to participate in their own healing, which is your mind, body, and soul. What my instruments do for you is the overtones allow you to reach that transcendental meditative state where the monkey chatter is quieted for that moment, because it's like our mind is always going 1,000 miles an hour. And if you can focus on something else, like the sounds of a gong or a crystal bowl or the chimes, it's going to take you out of yourself and you're going to reach that spot. And the funny thing about
Right.
that spot is once you say, oh, I'm there, guess what? You're no longer there because your mind is thinking about that spot. So just continue to come and continue to let go. And what I found what we were talking about Natalie is just a few minutes ago. Last night, she was saying how in the beginning, it's like, she goes, oh, I had a hard time focusing on the sounds. And now after a year, she goes, you start playing and I'm immediately drop into that zone of Zen or chill space, or everything is just okay in the world, like my experience was. So it's just interesting how everybody's journey with a sound meditation changes as well.
Yeah, and I really like with my experience with you, I like that you remind us that, hey, sometimes those thoughts will come into you because it's really almost impossible to stop thinking
Yeah,
about stuff because we're kind of like my therapist Eddie Eniver says, he's from Australia. He always says that, we are in the business of busyness, and so we have so much going on in our heads all the time.
right.
And much like when I'm in my yoga class, the yoga instructor says, remember that when you are, chilling, um, that the thoughts will come into your mind. Let it, acknowledge it,
Yeah,
and then let it go on its merry way. And then,
that's right.
you can, and so you remind yourself, hey, I don't need to be thinking about what I'm going to pick up for dinner tonight. I don't need to be thinking about, how, what the kids are going to, what I just all the things, right? So I just like the fact that you remind us, and that's really cool. But I wanted to ask you how you had a transformative moment at some point that got you really thinking, wow, this is really cool. Can you walk us through kind of back and how you got involved, what it took to get your professional practitioner license? I don't know if there's a license,
Yeah.
who your mentor was, and all the things.
Yes, of course. So about 15 years ago, July, I went to a sound bath. My friend was a professor of chemistry at UNR, and he knew this lady who was a professor of marketing at UNR was doing a sound bath. I'm like, well, I don't know, what's that? We went to the organic bed store when it used to be off Wells Avenue, and we laid down, and there was these big gongs everywhere, and this lady was running around, and she had this purple streaks in her hair, and I'm like, wow, okay, let's see what happens. I had that moment, I like to call it my moment of bliss, where everything was just okay in the world, perfectly aligned, as one would say. It only lasted for, that split second, but there's something to that. And I was like, wow. So I asked my friend to introduce me to her, and he said, oh, this is my friend Wyatt. And I'm like, I want to learn to do this. How do I do this? And she said, I'm in class 2 weeks later. So I signed up with her class, and 15 years later, here I am. Um, Her name is Judy Strauss. She got her gong master. There's not a certifying board or a licensing committee, because anybody could issue a certificate that said, oh, you're now a certified sound healer. It doesn't happen in a week or a weekend. This is over years of experience and how many sound baths or sound meditations I've completed, how many people I've mentored, and what do people get out of my sound baths? Is my rhythm right? Is my modulations right? How are my overtones? It's like all these other factors, and just not, oh, you hit the gong a couple times, now you're certified. So it's just, I don't know, it's hard to say but what I finally asked her before she passed away a few years ago was, am I ready? She's like, you're doing sound baths, right? I'm like, yes. She goes, are you mentoring people? I'm like, yes. She goes, are people telling you about their experiences, and do they ever cry to you? I'm like, many times. She goes, you're on the right path. Just keep learning, keep getting more instruments, and education is like the vitalness of life. And lately I've run across a man called Alexander Tanos, who is much smarter than me, 4 master's degrees in music ethicology and blah, 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 blah. Lots of research this man has done. And what he's said and what I say are basically the same, except I say it on a first grade level, and he's like on, the 4 master's degree level. So it's just interesting that, oh, even after all this time, I'm still learning new ways to express how to experience a sound meditation. It's all about his words, judicious listening, listening to the overtones, listening to the modulation, and being open to allowing the sounds into your mind. and allowing the sounds to remove, or I don't know how that exactly works, but to block out that monkey chatter that, oh, I have to go pay the rent. I have to go to the grocery store. All that stuff, there's 10,000 thoughts that happen to your mind. The sounds can help your mind stop thinking of those thoughts by focusing and attention on the sounds. Oh, my dog's barking. Lady, lady.
That's okay.
She
We're all
has nice
friends
sounds
here.
too. Yes, yeah.
I have my puppy sitting next to me, and she's actually being good in her little crate, and the big one's being good. I like that. I never realized that. So being a breast cancer survivor, and going through all the things, the chemo, the mental, and just the emotional chatter, if you will.
Okay.
You I'm really intrigued about why people actually attend a sound bath, um, for healing purposes. So, because you do this for Cancer Community Clubhouse once a month, and we know that people love it because they keep coming back,
Right.
what is it about a sound bath that can be so soothing and healthy for a cancer patient and even a cancer survivor like me?
Mhm. So I think as a sound bath practitioner, I create that experience through the vibrations and frequencies that provide the space and the tools for the participants, for the cancer survivors, for other sound bath meditators that come to embark on their own unique journey, because the healing is coming from within. It's not coming from me. I just provide the set and the tools, like the gong, for example, to let the person connect to the harmonious sounds, and you allow your own internal energies to realign and find the balance.
Okay. Well, it's helped with me. We know that after someone is cancer free, that's not the end of the journey. There's all kinds of things that happen, and feelings that happen, and emotional things that happen. PTSD.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I know I went through PTSD. I literally 1 year ago, I was cancer free. You would think that I would be all good and ready to rock
Um,
the world and get back to normal and things like that. And apparently, word out on the street, that's not how it happens. And, and I couldn't figure out why I was so depressed. Like, I was
oh,
super depressed. I had just had my a couple of major surgeries. I was feeling like I had no significance, no purpose, or anything. And at some point in time, I recognized that I'd been going to therapy. My husband and I have been going to therapy because he wasn't understanding what I was going through. And at some point between the time that I was going through that and the time I finally recognized why I was feeling that way, um, and learned more about what cancer patients go through, that's where the podcast was born, because now I have a purpose, right? I do have a purpose. I provide much needed education to in shortening the learning curve for a lot of people, whether it has to do with treatments, and I pull in professionals such as yourself, to kind
thank
of
you.
provide that holistic healing ideas that might work. Like, some people say, oh yeah, go to meditation. Well, it's really hard to sit on your couch and put it up on the TV and listen to meditation. Although I did do that. Like, I tried all the things, yoga, and I love yoga. I never liked yoga before. I love yoga now. But incorporating these kinds of therapies to the regimen of your journey, if you will, has become really intriguing for me. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show. I want people to understand that there are different modalities that can help out with their own healing. So, with that, those anecdotal stories, what kind of anecdotal stories can you share with us, that tell you that these sound baths are effective for people? like me and Natalie and Tiffany and
Others like you.
yeah.
I met a lady last night, her first sound meditation ever. I'll use her first name only, Allie. She came up to me afterwards, and well, a little more in depth. She was laying right in front of the crystal bowls. She was laid back. Her hair was all laid out nice. She looked like an angel laying there. It was just like so sweet. And first timers, I'm always a little nervous because I'm not sure what they're going to experience. Are they going to not have a good, are they going to hate this, or what is going to happen? And so I watched the newbies. I watched them during my sound meditations to see, are they squirming? Are they feeling uncomfortable? What can I do? Can I lower my volume a little bit to make them a little more comfortable? Because sometimes the sounds can get loud. And I know it's only a sound, but our mind can say, oh, that's a scary sound to me. Your mind decided it. The sound did not decide that. So that's always kind of interesting to me as well. But she came up to me afterwards and she's like, can I ask you if I did this right? I'm like, there is no right or wrong in a sound meditation. It's just about how is it making you feel. It's just like, well, once you started, she goes, I felt like I melted into the floor. And she goes, my whole body just felt like this vibration over it. I'm like, well, you were right next to the bowl. The head was, within 6 inches of, okay, 6 inches, whatever that is. And the vibrations were just entering through your body. She goes, I just felt at peace. She goes, I haven't felt at peace in so long. So
That
then
makes
she
me so
started,
happy. I
it
know
makes
I'm
me happy
crying.
too.
I have some
And
tears in
she
my eyes
started
when it's
crying, and
coming.
then I started crying. It's like, it's very touching to me when somebody can come up to express their feelings from what I just did for them for an hour. Maybe I shouldn't cry about it, but it's just like, it just makes me so full of gratitude that what I'm able to do or facilitate, not what I do, excuse me, what I facilitate for people helps them feel better, even if it
Right.
is only for that hour. Um, yeah. So the second Saturday of every month is my favorite Saturday of every month because I get to go hang out with people like you and Natalie and Lisa and and Michelle and Al and Nancy and Barb and Allie. And it's just like all these beautiful souls. Oh, and I met a man last night, Paul, older gentleman, older than me, I think. He absolutely enjoyed it as well. It's just like, this is just an experience that if you're open-minded enough to come try it, you may experience a little piece of bliss.
Yeah, I'd like to bring my husband. I've actually told him because my husband, I don't know, he just cannot sit still. It is very rare when he actually sits still for more than, 5 minutes. And I told him, I said, you need to come with me, just
Yeah,
even once, just come with
yeah,
me and check it out. He actually, during COVID, started doing yoga, and he still to this day goes upstairs to his Zen room that he put
I love it.
together and he does yoga. So I know that he would, and he loves massages. He goes for massages like, I don't know, 3, 4 times a month. And he loves them. He loves the hot tub, things like that. So I just know that he would love a sound bath. You just brought up something about open mindedness. So, why do people need to have an open mind when attending these experiences? And why is it important to let go of any like preconceived ideas about what they've heard or learned or whatever for about sound baths?
So I always like to say open-mindedness, that's the only requirement for a sound meditation. The problem is being open-minded is not the easiest thing to be because like you just said, we all have our preconceived notions. Funny story, last night, a man of one of the survivors was coming with his wife and he's like, well, I was going to bring my bathing suit because this is a bath, but I didn't know what to expect. So the right track, you're on the right track. You have a sense of
Oh
humor,
my God.
which is great. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I used to start it as you're going to come to a sound bath, but you won't get wet. Don't worry. So back to open
That's
minded.
not,
It's just,
wait. Let me stop you right there. That is not true. One time you did such a cool thing with the lavender
okay,
and
you will get a
oh,
little wet.
I know. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, that literally was my favorite part so far of what you
Uh,
did,
I
because
love
that
it.
was the coolest thing ever. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we were talking about interrupting, but I had to tell you that was my favorite part, and I want you to do that again. So,
I love
but
that. Thank you.
open-mindedness.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how to describe open-mindedness because I think it's going to be open-mindedness means many different things for many different people because we're all individuals. We all have our own preconceived notions about stuff. So, yeah, if you could just be open-minded, whatever that means for you, you're going to have a much better experience. And again, it's all about the sound meditation is an active experience. You're not just laying there having the vibrations coming into your body. Your mind is constantly going back to focusing and concentrating on those sounds. There's something magical about those sounds. And when you can reach that transcendental state, that's where the magic's going to happen. I usually end my sound baths with I pose a question. I'm like, perhaps drive home in silence and just contemplate what you went through in the last hour with me during the sound meditation. See if there's any conditions in your life that you would like to change. Did the sounds help you reach that conclusion that you don't ever need this more in your life? I'm not sure, but just contemplate that experience is going to help you in the end, help you heal. And then tell your friends. It's funny because I've just got a haircut, as you can see. I don't have much hair. But the lady's like, well, how do people know about a sound meditation? And I'm like, a lot of it is word of mouth. Because, like in the beginning, you were talking about what's a sound bath? What's a sound bath meditation? I have no idea. Nobody really does, except once you've experienced it, then you are my best advertiser because you have that connection, you have that experience, and you have that excitement with the sound bath, hoping that next time you're going to have a better experience than you did the last time.
For sure. And I was just going to say something on top of that with the referrals and things like that, because I really
Yeah.
didn't know what it was. But
Yeah.
once I was in there, I realized that my Reiki practitioner, uses gongs and things like that in her
Uh,
practice, a smaller version of a sound bath type thing. I thought,
right.
oh, okay, I get it. And then my yoga gal, one of the instructors, has a gong, like one of those bowls in her practice, and she does that at the very end. And so this whole, yes, like a bowl, yeah. And so there's got to be a lot of science behind the therapy behind sound, right? I mean, eh, it's not all just anecdotal. There's got to be
No.
some science behind it,
Right. Right.
right?
I'm not a scientist. All I know is my experience and what I've read from other people that are scientists. So there's entrainment, which is where the overtones of the instruments come into play when you're focusing on those sounds. Like I always start my sound meditations with the crystal bowls because it has that wah 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 effect. If you remember that, that
Hmm.
gets entrained in your mind to go to that spot. And where that spot is, I wish I could find it all the time, but I don't always know where that spot is. But it's going to help you reach that entrainment with your brain. Then there's also something called sympathetic resonance, which means your body is going to vibrate or your cells are going to vibrate with the sound that's around it. So, say tuning forks, I don't have much experience with them, but I do know that if you do have a tuning fork and you hit one tuning fork and it's close to the same frequency resonance of the other tuning fork is going to start shaking as well. Also, like, the wine glass that explodes, it's like that has a sympathetic resonance as well because it gets so much into it that it can't handle all that vibration and it shatters. So
Okay.
something with in the cells, the cytoplasm, and if you think about the vibration, if you think about our body, we're 70% water. Our blood is liquid, we're liquid. So the vibrations are coming into the body, and our body is very much a very powerful and very efficient machine where it wants to be in homeostasis, which is, equal balance. And it's going to pull in the things that it needs with that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
The,
I want to tell you that back when I was a kid, my mom and dad always loved wine, and they had the nicest wine glasses. And I remember when they would put a little bit of wine on the lip of the wine glass and make that woo woo woo, and that
yeah,
was so cool.
same,
That
same.
was my first version of a sound bath.
Yes, it was. And
Well, I love the fact. Did you have something to say?
I do. So just back to you were asking about the body and what's the primordial sound of creation?
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I think you hear it sometimes when I'm playing the gongs. I know I do. I
Yeah,
hear that sound,
I do.
and it's like that's creation. So sound, we're very much in tune to sound. It's like also remember when you have a stressful day at work and you get in your car, what's the first thing you do?
You blast up the
You
radio.
turn on the music. You turn on the sound to take yourself out of that situation.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
mine are not tuned to like, I'm not a guitar. I don't have notes. I have these overtones with the gongs and the bowls and the chimes that really help people just zen, bliss,
Yeah, yeah, I
balance.
love it.
Me too.
I mean,
Me
it
too.
makes sense. It makes sense that it's healing for people, who are going through any illnesses, mental illnesses, physical illnesses. It just makes sense to me, and I'm
Right.
just so glad that I was able to, make it. And I'm grateful that you give your time to Cancer Community Clubhouse. Uh, you know, not all of my audience is in Reno, Nevada. And
Right.
so I encourage people who are listening to reach out to see if there are any sound bath practitioners out there in your own area. I know that you can get them online and things like that. It's
Same.
just not the same.
No.
Um, I did actually look it up and I was because I wanted to learn more about it. But it definitely isn't the same as being in because you're not feeling it, right? So when you're in a sound bath with you, not only are you hearing it, you're feeling the vibrations in your body. So I really encourage people to reach out to your own community to see where those sound bath practitioners are. And you know what? If there's not one, you should become one. I mean, because seriously, it seems like it's a fun, well, clearly, you get emotional when you find out that, it really touched someone in a way that was very healing to them. So it just, I mean, it's probably great for your mental state as well,
Of course.
and so, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's about giving back. It's about
yeah.
giving back and being acknowledged for giving back. And I just want to say how I got involved with the CCC, the Cancer Community Clubhouse, and met you, which was fantastic, was I have a dear friend. Her name was Kim. I lost her to cancer. And I never, and we used to go to sound baths together all the time. That was our thing. We were like, oh, let's go to sound bath. Let's go to another one. So we went to sound bath and she passed. And I never really felt like I did enough to say thank you to her for being in my life and just what a dear friend she was to me. So this is my tribute or my, I don't know, my accolades to her.
Yeah,
But
I love it. You
yeah,
dedicate these practices to her, and you
right.
don't like to be called a healer. You like what is what are what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I think the healing is going to come from you. I think sound healer, it has lots of ego implications that, oh, I'm a sound healer and I can fix you and I can do this. It's like all I am is a facilitator. I am a practitioner. I provide the set, which would be say the yoga studio and the setting with the candles and the lights and then the sounds that I produce. That's what's going to help you on your healing process, not me.
Well, essential oils are really healing, and you do provide
Mhm.
lavender. So, just to be fair,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
really,
just
I'm. It
yeah,
was such a good touch.
I'm so glad you like that. I love doing that. It's like, because sound, there's also the olfactory. It's like, so I
Yeah.
burn a little sage in the beginning to like clear the air, set you up for a nice intention or Palo Santo, one of those burning type incenses, and then a lavender at the end, just
Well, and you
set you
do
free.
that at the time where you use the stick that creates that
The rain
rain
stick,
sound. Oh, I
right?
love that. And then
Uh,
I wasn't expecting it because that was the third time I was there because you hadn't done that before. And I'm laying there, and that's when my friend Lisa was there
oh
sitting
yeah,
next to
yeah.
me, and yeah, and she loved that, by the way. And the rain is one of my favorites. Had the lavender like it was raining on our faces. It was so great.
I
And
love
I
that.
just always feel so rejuvenated when I walk out of there. Plus, you're a nice person. You are a, you know, I mean, it's you can tell that you genuinely love what you do. So that makes all the difference too. So what is one big piece of advice that you would like to leave our audience with? Perhaps you've been thinking about this.
The one piece of advice I could leave with somebody: if you don't experience the best sound bath your first time, please try it a second time, a third time, a fourth time. Eventually, it's going to hit with you. And if it's not with me, go to other people that do sound baths, because we're all different people. I'm a man. You may like a lady sound bath practitioner instead. You might like crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls only, not the gong. The gong might be too intense for you. So try it again. It's like I always tell people, not always, many times I try to remember to people, if you didn't like it this time and you want to try it again because you weren't satisfied, please contact me. You come back for free. It's not about a money opportunity for me. It's like, yes, it helps because then I can buy more instruments, which is wonderful. But I want you to have that experience with a sound meditation that reaches you and touches your mind, body, and soul.
I love that. And also, just so everybody knows, Wyatt actually does groups. Like, I could seriously bring all my girlfriends so we could have a little party and have
Yeah,
a sound bath first. And your price
I could
point is not bad,
I
is
could come
good.
to your house. I could come to your house and we could do a private one for you and all your girlfriends.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love it. So I see you have your gong in back of you. I
Yeah,
would
I do.
love, can we do a little session before we wrap up?
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Sometimes
Okay. I know
the
it's going to
sounds
be
don't
echoey and
a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, let's see what's happening. Oh, it's not switching. I was trying to switch my speaker and it won't switch.
and we can
I don't think
edit
it's
this part out, so it's not a big
yeah,
deal.
I don't think it's gonna switch. I think because
Lem
since we started recording, it's not gonna. Let me
Oh, no, I can't hear you now.
there. Can you hear me now?
Um, yeah, but
Yeah.
I can turn this off and
Okay.
begin a recording again. So I'll turn
Okay.
this off, and because I can
Okay.
always put this in. Okay.